Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. OBS crashed on me because I was playing with some of the settings. And I know better than to do that while streaming, but I did it anyway. But you know, we're not exactly professionals here. Sometimes we just wing it and hope for the best. Alright, yeah. So, sorry about that. Ben, did I miss the stream? I just saw now. We back, boys, says Kevin Patel. Hi, Derek, says Ben. Mr. Go F yourself. First thumbs up. Sup, DT? What's up, Mr. Go F? So now I gotta start over? Alright, yeah, just checking things out, making sure the stream is back up. Okay, anyway. Let's get back to what we were doing. We were actually going to do a Linux install here. So, well, actually, I've already done the base Arch install. You guys saw that the other day. Did I create a user? I think I did. What was the user I created? I think I created a user called Derek. And I'm not sure what password I gave this. Yep, so Derek was the username. I gave the password is also Derek, so I could remember it. Alright, so we had already installed Xorg. Now, you guys that are doing Arch installs, I'm going to treat this like I'm a complete noob, which, you know, I'm not that familiar with Arch. I've done a few Arch installs, but like installing things like Genome and KDE, you know, I don't usually install full desktop environments, so some of this I probably do need to read anyway. So, why is that browser not coming up? Let's see. You know what? I know what's causing the problem, guys. The Compton Compositor. On my host machine, I'm running the Compton Compositor, and I forgot. Sometimes it does not play well with a with OBS. So. All right, now things are working. I had to kill the compositor. Alright. Anyway, this is the Arch Wiki, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the GNOME page here in the Arch Wiki. And this is what, you know, a brand new user would need to do. First of all, to install GNOME, there are two groups available. One is the GNOME package. The GNOME package is really just a base GNOME desktop. It is the GNOME shell, Mutter, the window manager, and that's about it. GDM, the login manager, is in that pack as well. But really, we probably also want to install GenomeExtra, which contains all the other well-known GNOME applications. You know, your archive manager, the GNOME disk, gedit, you know, all the other GNOME apps. So, sudo pacman-s GNOME and GNOME-extra. Okay, so I type sudo pacman-s GNOME and GNOME-extra, and it's asking me what do we want to install here. The default is all of it. I'm going to choose all of it. Just going to do the defaults. There's 8 providers for TTF-font. We'll just go with the first one. Alright, so quite a bit of stuff is about to install. Looks like about 2.7 gigs. And of course we need to sync the mirrors. We're getting a lot of errors here. But I gotta wait for this to finish first. Alright, but at least OBS is working now. Pro tip, the Compton Compositor, turn that thing off before you start streaming in OBS. And I don't know why that is. I had problems with it running OpenBox in the last few distros I ran to. The Compton Compositor did some funny things sometimes in OBS, but it does some really funny stuff in these tiling window managers like Qtile and Xmonad. Anyway, oh, this thing, it's going to take forever for that to stop. Let me go back to the chat for a second. Alright, iCubic says, Ben, you haven't missed anything. He just started and OBS crashed. Well, we're going to give OBS a pass on that. I kind of helped it crash. I shouldn't have been playing around with a lot of the graphics and stuff inside OBS while streaming. And we Negan now. Install Gentoo. Probably not on a live stream. But we may do some Gentoo stuff down the road. Eventually. Maybe. iCubic, just follow the wiki and you'll be good. Yeah, on the Arch install, yeah. The Arch install is not very difficult. If you guys watched my my video recently on that, you know it's not that hard to get Arch installed. And you know, I could sit here and wait for this thing to do this all day, but I'm not going to. Let's see. Can I do anything else? Let's see. Well, I do have a terminal open over on a different screen. We're just going to X-kill that. Solve that problem. And Q1 Fiend is in the chat. Hey, DT. Hey, Q1. Robert's here. Hello, Derek. Hey, Rob. iCubic, you can always kill the VM, yeah. Alright, so where were we? So, let's sync these mirrors. There's something not quite right there. Let's see. Failed to update core, unable to lock database. If you're sure the package manager is not already running, you can remove /var/live/ yeah, okay. So it's telling me I can delete this lock file and things might be alright after that. But of course that's not the case. Do I have a GitHub public configs? I do actually. You can find me on GitHub at github.com/dwt1. I have a link to it at the top of my YouTube channel. You'll see the links to my Facebook page, my Twitter page, my Patreon page, and my GitHub page is also there. Toss is in the chat. Mr. Unstable. Unstable Excitement is back. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with these mirrors here. Why is this not syncing for me? Let's see. We Negan. XOR compositor is way better. Yeah. I think NVIDIA has one. Well, oddly enough, when I go to sync the repos, even though I'm getting a lot of errors, you know what? Do I even have internet? I haven't even thought about that. Okay, so I can't ping Google. That's the problem. We didn't set up networking on this, so... When we went through the Arch install, did I not go ahead and check to make sure internet was working when we got to the end? I may not have. That's my fault. I should have included that in that first video I made. So, network configuration, network managers, yada yada yada. Now I know I set up the host name and all of this. Yeah, I definitely went through most of this. Type DHCPCD, yeah. DHCPCD. And then don't I need the name of my connection? or we'll just, we got to do it as sudo though. No interfaces have a carrier fork to background. Yeah, so we still don't have. No, we're pinging now. So that did it. I thought I needed to actually specify, you know, Ethernet 0 or whatever for the connection, but just typing sudo dhc pcd actually worked. Control C will kill the ping here. Alright, now we have working internet. Let's sync the repos. And I really should have included that on that install video. I hope you guys, anybody that happens to follow my video and try to do exactly the Arch install I did, all of those guys are going to have network problems. I should have included this on the video. But you know what, maybe I'll do another Arch install down the road, a video on it, and I'll remember to add the networking stuff to it. Alright, so the repos are syncing fine now, so now we'll sudo pacman -S GNOME and GNOME -extras. And of course, target, we didn't type GNOME, right? Alright. Still didn't type it right. GNOME-extra, no S. Okay. And I'm just hitting enter. I'm just going to install all the defaults. Alright. Now the problem with this massive install of GNOME and all the GNOME utilities and all the GNOME applications is it might take a minute. I'm going to go back to the chat for a second here. Yep, just type what I told you. You'll be connected. Yeah, good tip. And I've used DHC PCD actually to get the network running on my main machine. But I wasn't aware that you didn't have to specify a connection. That just typing that one word did the trick. That's pretty cool. Thanks for the tip. Let's see. Got Migay. I had to read a lot to set the internet up on my netbook, but I got it. Yeah. Wi-Fi is a little trickier. Obviously, I'm doing a wired connection, so. Alright. Pacman is so comfy. Yeah, I like the Pacman package manager. I'm pretty comfortable in all of them, though. I mean, apt is great. I don't mind DNF and Fedora. Of course, Emerge and Gentoo is a little more complicated, but it's a great package manager. I even like, what's the one in OpenSUSE? Zipper? It's not bad, too. They all work, as long as you can install and remove all the software, you know, update the system, search the repos. All of them have those basic functions. You should make sure that DHCP-CD runs every time you start the machine. Yeah, so I would probably need to enable that service with the init system, systemd. Good call, iCubic. All right, Toss, I'm going to bed. This is too painful for me. Actually, this is going to be painful for me even. Because there's nothing installed on these Arch installs. When I clone this Arch VM, well, you can see, you know, we didn't even have network configured. And it's going to be funny when I get to get GNOME installed and we log into GNOME. Don't be surprised if some things are not functioning correctly. We may actually have to read the Arch wiki on a few things. It looks like it's installing some Pulse libraries. That's another thing. We need to make sure Pulseaudio is installed. Of course, I'm not going to be listening to any audio in this VM over the stream or anything, but that's something for your actual installs. Install Pulseaudio. Hey, Derek, can you install your Arch with an encrypted home partition? I'm sure you could. I never encrypt my home folder, though, because sometimes it can make backups and restorations difficult. But that's just a personal thing for me. I never bother with it, but you can do it. Have you tried Arch Linux with OpenRC? No, I never change the init systems on distros. I just go with whatever. As long as the init system is functioning correctly, meaning the distro boots up, you know, that's all I need. And I actually kind of like systemd. I mean, it works. I like the old sysv init system in Debian. I like the old Upstart init system that Ubuntu used. OpenRC and the Gentoo based distros is alright too. iCubic, are you going to install a login manager? The good thing with doing GNOME is GDM, the GNOME Display Manager, is going to be installed with the GNOME package. It's lumped in the base GNOME package in Arch. You install GNOME, you're getting GDM. So, yeah, like GMD, or yeah, GDM, LightDM, Slim. Yeah. So with things like Arch or GNOME and KDE, they'll come with their own display managers. Of course, you got GDM and KDM. For more minimal stuff, I always use LightDM. You mentioned the Slim login manager. I don't like Slim. I know it's lightweight and minimal, but LightDM, it's pretty light too, and it's actually in development, and it looks good, and it works. I don't even know if Slim is really under development anymore. It's been a long time, I think, since anybody has been developing Slim. Are you guys noticing some flickering on my webcam here? I haven't been able to figure that. That's been bugging me here in this Arch install. I've never had that problem in OBS on the previous 5 distros. You know, I hopped on this machine like every week for the past 5 weeks. I was on Manjaro, then Antix, then Calculate, then the Lubuntu 1804 beta, and now Arch. And for some reason, I'm really fighting OBS in this Arch install. I'm getting that webcam flickering. Of course, I mentioned the Compton compositor has been acting up. I got to remember to kill Compton every time I do anything in OBS, because it can cause some problems. You know what? I did install the Xmonad tiling window manager on this machine too. I was planning on doing half the 30-day challenge I'm doing, where I'm living in a tiling window manager and trying only use terminal-based applications where possible. I was going to do like the first 15 days in Qtile, and then the next 15 in Xmonad. I may go ahead and jump over to Xmonad in the next day or two and see how Xmonad does as far as some of these recordings and streamings in OBS. It could be a problem with Qtile. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I've played around with the settings. For example, let me see. And I'll put the chat back on the screen here for you guys to read while if I go to the properties for this webcam here in OBS, I mean, I've tried for the video format, I've tried YU12, I've tried YV12, and it's the same for both of them. Neither one of them tend to work. So, and I think I just killed my camera there by even opening it up to take a look at it. So, oh my goodness, why do I keep playing with OBS while the stream is going? And I know not to do this. Alright, let's see. Let's see what I can do here. I don't think I can get the camera back up and working while streaming. Yeah. Oh, it's definitely frozen. I can see it, iQB. It's because I was playing with the settings while streaming. I think the only way I can get this back is to kill the stream again. So that's what I'm going to do. This actually won't take but a second. All I need to do is close OBS and then come right back. So I'll be gone, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds this time. Alright, and we're back. Alright, I'm not going to touch OBS anymore. We're just going to... But anyway, the point of all of that with OBS was if you guys got any suggestions on webcam flickering, I've got a Logitech 922. You know, it's a nice webcam, very nice webcam, and I've had no issues with it, like I said, and all the previous distros I've done on the channel since I've had this webcam. But for some reason, it's not playing nice here, at least not in OBS on this Arch install. Cubic, yeah, that was like 2 seconds, yeah, because I've got, you know, I'm in a tiling window manager. I've got, you know, killing programs hotkeyed, you know. It's just a key combination on the keyboard and it kills OBS, and then I've got OBS hotkeyed to launch again, so. If OBS was a distro, it would be the hardest one. Very true. There is a learning curve to it. I mean, once you kind of get it figured out, it's actually a very powerful program. It's a fantastic program. I don't know everything there is to know about it. I learn new stuff about it every day. Now, one of the problems with getting these desktop environments and window managers installed here on this live stream tonight is some of these desktop environments are rather large, like Genome. This install is going to take a few minutes. I didn't think about that. So once we get Genome set up, I probably won't do KDE, because as big as Genome is, KDE is pretty monstrous too if we do like all the KDE apps. So we may just do Genome this evening, and then I may do like some minimal stuff. We could do an open box install if you guys want to see that, or I could install a tiling window manager, maybe Qtile or Xmonad or something. Tiling window managers can be tricky in a VM, because if the tiling window manager in the host machine uses the super key as the mod key, and the VM uses the super key as the mod key, you can have some issues. Let's see. Yeah, Cubic. KDE is also really large. Yeah, so I'm actually not going to do KDE. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and rename this here. We're going to delete KDE out of that name for that Arch Linux cloned VM that I did. And we're going to do, you know what, just for sake of time, OpenBox. It's so light and straightforward. We might do an OpenBox install. We may do a couple other, you know, smaller window manager kind of installs, because I can do several of them in the time it takes to do something like GNOME or KDE. Ben says he wants to see awesome window manager. We could do that. I'm still getting some flicker on the camera. Yeah, you can always change the mod key to Alt, and that was actually the point I was going to get to. If you're doing a VM of a tiling window manager and your host machine is also using a tiling window manager, they need to have different mod keys. You need to have one of them set to use the super key as the mod key, and one of them set to the Alt key as the mod key. If you have them both set to the super key or both set to the Alt key, you can have some issues. You're gonna be closing things in the VM, or thinking you're closing things in the VM, but you're really closing things on the host machine. Yeah, iCubic mentions, yeah, when we do this clone here, it won't have internet. But that's such a simple fix now. I mean, it's one command, and, you know, in 2 seconds we'll have internet. So, but we do need to remember that it won't have internet. But it'll be obvious. I'll go to sudo pacman-s openbox, and, you know, that command's going to fail. So. Yeah, MSJCHE has a killer awesome window manager config, worth a try. and I can't link it. Yeah. Yeah, they don't like links here in the YouTube chat. Not sure exactly why. Well, I know why, because most of it would just be spam. It would just be... But I'm probably not going to play with anybody's awesome window manager config, because that would take quite a bit of time, even trying to configure something like awesome window manager. I'm not going to configure OpenBox either when I do the OpenBox one. We're just going to... how it comes out of the box. If you guys want configs, you can find them. GitHub. Somebody else that has a really, really great, awesome window manager config, Eric Dubois, over at Arco Linux, formerly Archmerge. His awesome window manager config is great. And iCubic mentions, yeah, the best config is the one that you write yourself. That's true. But like the awesome window manager config is written in Lua. How many people are just going to, sit down, open a blank text file, and start writing a Lua config? Not too many. You're going to borrow from other people. You're going to, copy and paste things you like from other people's configs, for the most part. Even if you know a little bit of Lua. Same thing with Python and Qtile. I mean, I kind of wrote a little bit of my config here in Qtile because I know a little Python. But a lot of it was just things I saw in other people's configs, and I go, wait, that makes sense. I just put it in mine. Certainly my Xmonad config, I don't know any Haskell. I mean, I can kind of tell how it's set up, and, I can play around with the config, but if you ask me what anything in Haskell meant, couldn't tell you. Yeah, and we're waiting for Genome to install here. And we've waited too long now for me to kill this and move on to something else. We're going to get Genome installed. I'm going to sit here and wait on this. Huck in the chat mentions he likes i3. I still need to take a look at i3. I mean, I've played around in i3 a little, but a very little. And the reason I haven't installed i3 and tried to live in i3 is because these tiling window managers, as iCubic mentioned, the best config is the one you write yourself. Well, I've already got configs written for Qtile and Xmonad. I've lived in them. So with something like i3, I would have to sit down and write a brand new config from scratch. It might take me a few days, maybe a few weeks, really probably a few weeks to get it set up exactly the way I want it, the way I'm used to in other tiling window managers. I'm not sure why I would go to that trouble, because what would i3 offer me that Qtile or Xmonad didn't? Probably not much. I mean, a tiling window manager, for the most part, it's a tiling window manager. They all function pretty much in the same way. The only real differences that, to me, make a big difference, how they handle multi-monitor support is a big one. And of course, some of them come with panels out of the box. Others, you need to configure some kind of third-party panel to work with the tiling window manager. That can be a chore. Qtile, thankfully, has a panel that comes out of the box with it, and it's very easy to configure. It's written, of course, in Python. Awesome Window Manager is another one that includes a panel out of the box, and it's very easy to configure too. But really minimal tiling window managers like Xmonad, there's no panel with that thing. You need to install some third-party panel, and to get that third-party panel to work correctly with Xmonad can be a pain. And yeah, i3 is very easy. Just follow the documentation at the site. Yeah, I would have no problem getting i3 up and running. Like I said, I just haven't done it because I've got Qtile and Xmonad already configured and up and running. Now I am going to take a look at i3 for purposes of the channel. you know, play around in the config a little bit. But yeah, I mentioned multi-monitor support, and some of you guys are actually talking about that. Doesn't i3 give each monitor its own set of workspaces? iCubic was asking that. And that was my point. If i3, if that is the way they handle multi-monitors, I don't really like that. That is not the way I expect a tiling window manager to handle multi-monitors. The way Xmonad handles multi-monitors is really the right way to do it. And that's one of the reasons why Xmonad has been a very popular tiling window manager for many, many, many years. Xmonad's been around forever. It's because of the way it handles multi-monitors. You give Xmonad, say, 9 workspaces. I have 3 monitors. Workspace 1 is monitor 1. Workspace 2 is monitor 2. Workspace 3 is monitor 3. If on monitor 3, which is set to workspace 3, I hit a key combination to switch it to workspace 4, it's now on 4. So my monitors are workspace 1, 2, and 4. If I want to switch the third monitor from workspace 4 to workspace 2 with some kind of hotkey, it's now on 2. Because 2 was on 2, it's now on 4. They just swap places. And so forth and so on. That makes sense to me. Having each monitor have its own group of workspaces is very confusing to me. Lamarck mentions i3 is boring for him. How so? Lamarck mentioned, well, he actually says why. I'm a mouse user, not a keyboard user. Yeah, if you're a point-and-click kind of person, you don't need to be running a tiling window manager. They're designed to be run entirely with a keyboard. You're not supposed to really use the mouse for anything. Alright, Genome finally finished installing. So, heck, I forgot even what we were doing here. It's been so long. Let me get back into the Arch Wiki. Let's see, we were reading about Genome in the Arch Wiki. So we installed Genome and GenomeExtra for packages. GDM should have installed. We need to enable the service though. So sudo systemctl start, well actually enable. Is it gdm.service? So I never installed GDM. I really don't know. Yeah. I really don't know anything about Genome, to be honest. Actually, let's just reboot and see what happens now. I'm actually kind of curious on the reboot if we have internet. And Huck mentions, actually you can configure it both ways. i3, I'm assuming you're talking about, is you can do the multi-monitor situation either way, where each monitor is one workspace. By the way, I should have showed you guys, because I was looking at the chat. On reboot, we do get GDM, so that's it. It looks like I'd already had 2 different users. I had Derek and I had DT. I'm just going to go with the Derek user. Cubic says he needs to go get some food. He'll be back in a few minutes. Cubic, you need to be doing your homework. He mentioned before the stream started he actually had homework he needed to be doing. Let's see. And the VirtualBox guest editions are working. You can see that the screen resized. I actually could do this full screen. Let me go ahead and switch to full screen. And let's see what Genome and GenomeExtra installed. It installed a ton of stuff, actually. Wow. That GenomeExtra package pretty much gave us the kitchen sink. Here, I'll just kind of quickly scroll through some of this. This is the first page. I won't read through it all, but this is everything installed. Then I'll flip down to the second group. Yep, more stuff. A lot of games. Surprised how many games are installed in the GenomeExtra package. Anyway, let me pull up a terminal. And the reason I pulled up the terminal was to sync the repos again, just to see if networking was working. It's not. So we do need to enable DHC. What is it? What's that command? Where can I go back through the bash history? This one right here. Alright, sudo system ctl. We need to enable this with a systemd. And hopefully, now when we reboot the next time, this should work for us. Still had some problems with the mirrors though there. Why is that? Okay, it's working now. Okay, so we have internet. And hopefully the next time I reboot, I won't have to do this again. So, Lamarck, you can put systemctl start. Okay, yeah, to start it. Yeah, don't forget to start it. Both games were where you have to get in a row to win. What are you guys talking about? I must have missed. Oh, 5 in a row and 4 in a row. Okay. Anyway, am I going to do anything else with Genome? That's Genome. The tricky part is getting a GDM to work. You got to enable that with systemd. We had already, of course, installed Xorg, or we wouldn't have a graphical environment of any kind. Let's make sure Pulseaudio is installed. I think because we installed Genome and Pulseaudio's a dependency for so many Genome programs, Pulseaudio is probably already working. You know, Pulseaudio 11.1 is already here. So you're good to go at this point. That was pretty straightforward. The only reason that took so long is Genome is such a big, desktop environment. So I'm going to kill this VM. I think it'll be a little more interesting to do some minimal stuff. Let's quickly run through OpenBox here. The mirror order, it's bad. You have to reconfigure the /etc/pacman.d mirror list or install Reflector. Okay. Well, let's do that on this one. So we already know we're not going to have any kind of networking here, so. What was that command? DHCPCD? Was that it? No. Yeah, that was it. Alright. And then install Reflector. Is that the actual name, Reflector? And of course, we can't install anything. That was obviously not going to work just yet. So sudo pacman-mirrors-g. Internet first, yeah. It's just another Tuesday night. Playing around with a VM. Don't forget to install rsync, yeah. I wonder if I can kill this VM. Let's just go ahead and kill that, because we'll be waiting all day on that. Anyway, we're going to reboot that. Why do you have so many VMs? What is the point? I actually don't have any VMs right now. I normally have about 15 or 20 on my system, but because I did a recent install of Arch, I have all my VMs backed up, but I haven't put them on the SSD drive on this machine. These VMs that you think I have a lot of, this is just stuff I've done on the channel in like the last 3-4 days. So this isn't stuff I've had for very long at all, actually. But what is the point of having these VMs? Well, I saved that Arch Linux install because it was a base install. I knew at some point I may want to demonstrate how to install something like Genome on Arch Linux. So I saved that one knowing I could clone it. I could clone it as many times as I want to and basically do what I'm doing now. So sudo pacman mirrors. That's not working. It says sudo pacman-mirrors command not found. Was that not the command I needed? I could look it up in the Arch wiki, but I was just letting you guys feed it to me here in the chat. I think I actually have I think I had the mirror list wiki page up here anyway. Install Reflector and rsync. Yeah, but the problem with installing Reflector and rsync is I don't think I can. Yeah, that's why. It's because the /var/lib, all of that, db-lock. Okay, so we need to update the mirror list. Try with a lowercase g. Okay, that may have been the problem. Well, I don't know. It said the command pacman-mirrors. It could not find that. It didn't mention anything about, a flag being the issue. Yeah, I got locked out of Pacman. Yeah. It happens. Now I gotta wait for all this to run. No, Cubic. We're discussing a different command, not anything you have to run. Okay. And it looks like I'm gonna get Reflector and rsync installed. Problem is there's some bad mirrors here, but some of them are working. Right now it's trying to install Python 3.6. Now I didn't have this issue when I did the Genome install. We got up and running pretty quick when I did that one, and it's the exact same deal. Oh well. All right. So what do I need to do to update the mirror list? Somebody give me a command. Or I could just pull up the Reflector wiki page here. Actually, now that I have Reflector installed, I mean, I could even look it up with Reflector help, or could do the man page for Reflector. To open the mirror list, use sudo your text editor. Not sure if we have a text editor other than VI on this. Let's see if Nano's here. I mean, I'm supposed to be living in Vim, but let's see. /Etsy/ what are we doing here? So, oh, okay, the mirror list, of course. Actually, I know Nano is on here because I ran through this the other day on the video. /Etsy pacman.d /mirror list. Yeah, okay. And every mirror on here is uncommented, so that's the problem. Let's see if we can cut out some of these. I don't need the Macedonian mirror. I don't need the Greek mirror. Bulgaria, Thailand, all need to go away. It's a lot of mirrors. And Arch has a ton of mirrors. Such a problem with so many distros, especially the smaller ones, is a lack of mirrors. Not a problem with Arch. I don't know how many mirrors are in this list, but it's gotta be over 100. I thought you went through and deleted all the unneeded mirrors in the install video, or was the mirror list on the live environment? Yeah, that mirror list I edited was in the live environment. Because you needed to inside the live environment run the what was it, the pack strap thing to do the base install. So you needed to edit the mirrors to do that. You know what? We've got plenty of them. I've got a good 8 or 10 US mirrors here. Just gonna delete the rest of this. Man, it's crazy how long this mirror list is. That is just insane. Okay. That was it. We just needed to get rid of all those mirrors from the other side of the world. Alright, now that we're back on track. Sudo pacman -S openbox. We need obconf, the openbox configuration manager. What else do we need? We're going to have absolutely nothing with openbox. It's different than Genome. Genome, everything. You had the kitchen sink with it. We're going to need a panel. We have to have the Tent2 panel. Well, any panel or dock would work, but I'm going to go with Tent2. We're not going to have a file manager, PCman FM. We're not going to have a text editor other than VI or Nano. Those are installed by default on Arch, but you may want a graphical one. How about LeafPad? We're not going to have a graphical web browser. So how about, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with a web browser. We're not going to open it. It's just Firefox takes a long time to download and install. But you would need to install Firefox, Thunderbird, email if you want to do that kind of stuff for email. I'm just going to stick with installing what I'll need just to get around here. We need a terminal that's not XTerm. How about LX terminal? The LXDE terminal. We're going to need a login manager, LightDM. And we're going to need, what is it, the LightDM greeter, LightDM dash... Is it GTK-greeter? I could be wrong about that. Cubic, you like gedit? Yeah, it's a GNOME program. I'm not sure if it has any GNOME dependencies. LeafPad is pretty light. Shaston mentions he loves OpenBox. Don't forget to install DMenu. Yep, DMenu is great. I may install DMenu or Rofi. I like Rofi for a run command program. DMenu's fine too, though. I use DMenu. VI and gedit, all the editor a man needs, yeah. Derek, why don't you like other Linux YouTubers on your channel? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Why don't I like other Linux YouTubers on your channel? You'll have to explain that. I'm not sure what you're getting at on that one. Emacs is better, says iCubic. Better than Vim? I don't know. Debatable, I guess. Obviously, for most people, they're not going to use Vim or Emacs. Yeah, also get the LightDM GTK greeter settings. Yeah, that would make setting up LightDM easier. I'm not going to play with LightDM as long as I get LightDM just to launch, though. But yeah, on a real install LightDM-GTK-greeter-settings as well. Install. You know, you're going to need to install Pulseaudio because on this one, there will be no Pulseaudio installed. So, Pulseaudio volume control is PAVU control. So those are some big ones. I'll go ahead and install that even though I'm not going to do anything with the sound. But for those of you that are following along, maybe wanting to do this on physical hardware, you're going to need Pulseaudio. And the war still rages between Emacs and VI. Shaston mentions, on YouTube, I have the channel Linux Nation on YouTube. Okay, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. iCubic, what is your opinion on text-based browsers? Well, I've been using Lynx the last week. Well, I've used Lynx for a long time, but not really lived in Lynx. I've used Lynx a lot in the last week. Text-based web browsing works. I mean, it makes sense. If you're viewing like wikis, articles, news articles, blogs, you know, stuff that's mostly text, stuff that the images really don't matter. Because like, you know, the images in a news article and a blog post, most of the time, they just take away from the meat of the matter, which is the text. Alright, so we've got all that done. We need to enable LightDM if we want to use the LightDM login manager. So sudo systemctl, what are we going to do? Enable LightDM. Is it LightDM or LightDM-service? I forget which. I think that was it. I'm going to sudo reboot and see if on reboot it just takes us straight into LightDM at this point. It may not. We may have to play around with some LightDM configuration. No? There you go. And you know what? That's a +1 in the column for Arch there. LightDM working. Just installing it and enabling it. No configuration. That's great. LightDM can sometimes be tricky. And are we not going to have any guest editions here? We may have to just deal with this small resolution here because it's OpenBox. But anyway, this is OpenBox. And out of the box here in Arch Linux, we do get some kind of right-click menu. Now, these programs are not going to be installed. We have not installed any of these programs. I didn't install a calculator or a character map or archive manager. I didn't install Emacs or the Kate or Kwrite. So none of this is actually installed. None of these terminals are installed either. Do I even have XTerm? I don't think I can actually do anything here. I think I have to drop back down into the shell. Because I'm not going to have anything that I can open. The PCman FM file manager is here. But I'm not going to be able to do anything without being able to open a terminal. So I'll have to drop down into the shell. Let me go back to the chat for a second. I've missed a couple of things here. There's some lightweight browsers like Falcon, NetSurf, Midori, Dillo. Yeah. I've used Midori in the past. I don't like it. Falcon I need to check out. A lot of people seem to think it's awesome. DT, do you think there will be a new FSF approved OS in the near future, or is it dying out? The Free Software Foundation approved distros, there's never been more than a handful of them. And usually there's never been more than one or two that are actually active that people use. So is it dying out? It's always been kind of dead. There's just not enough people interested in that sort of thing to have more than a couple up and running as far as projects that people are interested in. You know, Triskel has some following, but it hasn't had a release, I don't think, in a while. GNU Sense was pretty popular for a while, but I don't think it's had a recent release either. And those are the only two that, like, I've actually heard of. There's one other. There's an Arch-based one called Parabola. I think it has had some fairly recent releases. Let's see. That is super minimal, yeah, because this is Arch. There's nothing installed. If you didn't install it, it's not here. And I didn't install enough actually before I logged in here, because I'm not going to be able to open anything. I can't get a terminal. None of these terminals are installed. I installed the LX terminal, but it was not hard coded into this list here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control F1 to get back into the shell. Actually, Control F2. We need to switch over to TTY2. And I need to log in. Sudo pacman-s XTerm, because XTerm we know is in that list. So at least I know I can launch XTerm when I need it. We still don't have network. I still have to go through the trouble of DHCPCD. I am not sure why I keep having to do that. I guess we didn't enable that service with systemd. So we would need to. Yeah. Anyway. Control and F7 gets us back to our desktop. Now, when I go to the terminal menu here and choose XTerm, I've got a terminal. Now from here, we can kind of do something. I mean, if I wanted to launch the Tent2 panel, now we have a panel. At least as long as I have this terminal open. And we have VCman-FM, file manager, and we have at least one text editor somewhere. But it is not in this menu, but because we have terminals, you can launch LeafPad or Nano or Vim from the terminal. So from here we could configure OpenBox. And I've got a ton of videos on configuring OpenBox from a base install. I did a minimal net install of Debian one time where I installed OpenBox on it. And it's going to work the exact same way in Arch. So I'm actually going to kill this VM. I'm actually just going to do it in the terminal. That was a sudo shutdown now to shut down immediately. I'm going to go back to the chat for a second. Yeah, Abraham mentions he tried Parabola for a day, so I guess it didn't go all that well. PureOS is on the FSF list now. It's maintained by Purism. Okay. And I might check out some of these Free Software Foundation distros. I might check out Parabola. I don't know. PureOS, if it's maintained, has some activity behind it. I may check that one out too. Let's see. I'm also thinking about putting Matthew Moore's Manjaro spin on this as well. So many choices. Okay. Keegan mentions he's running Triskel LXD on his old laptop. All I do on it is basically just web browsing and music, so it works fine. Yeah. If you can get by with the open source video drivers, that's the big one. And Wi-Fi drivers. If you're okay with video and Wi-Fi, that's usually the hurdle that trips up a lot of people. All right. iCubic, you should go in and enable the DHCP service on the original base Arch VM, and so in the future, yeah. So the next time I clone it, yeah, I don't have to keep fighting with the networking. I can't believe I didn't do that on the actual install video too, because that's something that really needed to be included in that video. Like, I'm almost thinking I should just delete that video and do another one just to make sure I get the networking in it. Because I could see people following, you know, my video almost like it's a guide, and then they're wondering why they don't have internet at the end. Which you're not supposed to do. You need to read the Arch Wiki. Don't follow what I do. Don't follow what anybody else does. You really need to install Arch by reading the wiki and installing it the right way, and installing exactly what you need for your purposes, not what I installed for my purposes. Keegan, word of warning, Pure OS only comes with GNOME. Tux mentioned F2 will run the LX terminal. Good tip. I just ended up dropping down in the shell though. But I wish I'd have known that. Abraham, it didn't go well for me. Had issues with the graphics card. Okay. Hector mentions you have to write systemctl enable dhcp cd dot service. Okay. And then start the service. Yeah. Okay. Now, do I really feel like cloning another VM? How long's the stream been up? A little over an hour. I could clone one more. Somebody mentioned Awesome Window Manager. Awesome is not very big. So I'm going to make one more VM. Make a full clone. Basically, it's an exact copy of that first VM. Lamarck, the worst desktop environment for me was KDE. I've not had good experiences with KDE. I'm not sure I would call it the worst desktop environment. I don't know. GNOME. It's not that GNOME functions badly. It's just it's so resource heavy. Anyway, I cloned this. Cloned another VM here. I still think GNOME is ugly and hard to config. I wouldn't call GNOME ugly. Hard to config, yeah, maybe. Let's see. William mentions Manjaro Awesome was released. Okay. I might need to check that out. I like Manjaro. I like the Awesome Window Manager. So, might be something I enjoy. And I'm just going to go ahead and take care of some of this networking stuff before I even get started here. Okay. Of course, you know what? I'd have to configure the mirror list as well. That's not going to be. Now, D8400. Let me get back into the chat for a second, because this is an interesting question. What is your opinion on the whole Deepin fiasco? I think it's a little overblown. The explanation from the Deepin guys is that their web store, or their software store, is basically a website. Most software centers are basically just web interfaces, and that the information being sent to some company was basically just web analytics. Something like Google Analytics, basically telling folks, you know, the person that's viewing this website, this is what screen resolution they're using, this is what operating system they're using, you know. Nothing personal. It's not doing anything as far as what files are on your system or anything, you know, anything crazy like that. So, you know, all the Deepin is spyware stuff is pure clickbait. Now, maybe the Deepin guys should remove that analytics stuff from their website or from their software center. But deepen is spyware. No, that's way too far with it. It reminds me of when people were saying that Ubuntu was adware because they included a link to the Amazon store on their dock, or because you got Amazon search results in the dash, which you could turn off. But it was, I guess, adware to some people. I don't get all dramatic on small stuff like that, like some people. But anyway, not to get off on a tangent there. Alright, so this VM, we've got network up and running. Now, I'm not going to configure the mirror list. The repo's synced. Alright, let's see if I can just get Awesome installed without having to fool with the mirrors this time. So, to install Awesome, sudo pacman-S awesome. And it will install Awesome and its dependencies. Now, Awesome will have a few dependencies. Unlike OpenBox, which really had no dependencies, Awesome, of course, is going to have a few dependencies. Cairo, what else have we got? Lua, of course, it's Lua, Pango. Awesome is configured in Lua, so you have to install all the Lua libraries. Alright. Of course, we should have also installed lightdm -gtk-greeter. Same problem with OpenBox. There's going to be absolutely nothing installed. I'm not going to have that same mistake again. XTerm. Let's at least have XTerm on the system, because when you do the hotkey for a terminal in Awesome Window Manager, if you don't have a terminal actually installed, we're not going to be able to do much. So XTerm. We need a file manager. You know what? Since we're going to be in the terminal, how about the Ranger file manager? Yeah. We'll just use Nano and VI for a text editor if we need to, and something like Awesome. Awesome's going to have a panel. You know what? I think we can get by with this for now. As long as I can get a terminal open in Awesome, if I need something, we can fix it. While that installs, more Deepin stuff. Deepin is spyware for some because of the popularity contest during the installation, but at least on Debian you can choose to install it or not. Yeah, the PopCon package, that's installed on pretty much every Debian-based distros. Ubuntu has it. I mean, it's not a problem on any other distro. I mean, nobody thinks that stuff is spyware. And Debian and Ubuntu have had that on their system for years. Many years. Mark Yates, so is Deepin transparent about this? Well, they had a response, and they pretty much said, hey, this company is a web analytics company. It's just getting stuff... it's like you open a browser, basically, and they're getting information about your screen resolution, or think Google Analytics, that kind of information. Now again, because of the controversy, Deepin probably should just remove that stuff, and they probably will because it's created some kind of backlash. But is it completely overblown? Is it a big deal? Yeah. Completely overblown, not a big deal at all, in my opinion. Alright. Are they saying nothing, something, lying? Their responses mean everything. That determines if I ever install it and use it. You can actually Google their response. They had a public response about it. And it seemed, pretty open. I mean, and it's a pretty long response. I mean, it's not like a one-paragraph response. They went into some detail about exactly what's going on there and why it's not spyware. The Deepin guys, that is. So, Alright, Mark, I saw a comment you made a while back. You said that Farron admitted he has some sort of data miner in Farron OS. Care to elaborate? Yeah, that's interesting, but again, you know, there's these kinds of things in every distro. You mentioned PopCon and Debian and Ubuntu. What about like sending bug reports, or what about using things like Zeitgeist? I mean, there's so much that could be, you know, is it spyware? No, none of that stuff is spyware, but if it's not actually, if it doesn't tell anybody what you're actually doing on your computer, what programs you're using, and if it, obviously, if it doesn't have access to the files on your computer, it's not really spyware, you know. If the only information is, I have a 1920 by 1080 screen resolution, I run an AMD processor and an NVIDIA GPU, if it's that kind of stuff, I'm okay with it. That's why I'm not worried about like the Ubuntu, telemetrics that they're trying to put in the next Ubuntu release. And they're going to have that in the installer. Do you want to give them that information? And I probably would just give them that information if I chose to run Ubuntu on my main machine, because if they want that information, if it'll help them make a better product, I don't mind letting them know a little information about my hardware. I don't think that's spying on me. They're getting no geolocation stuff. I mean, they're not getting IPs or anything. So, and I think this is the same thing with the deepen stuff. I mean, there's nothing really personal. All right, Hector mentioned Midnight Commander for a file manager. Yeah, we could have done Midnight Commander MC instead of Ranger. All right, so sudo reboot. And hopefully, if this worked out the same as before with OpenBox, we'll get LightDM. That's assuming I enabled the service. I don't think I did. Yeah, I remembered it at the last second. We didn't actually enable LightDM. Sudo systemctl enable LightDM .service. All right. And I think that's all I did on the previous VM with OpenBox. I think on a reboot, we got LightDM. No configuration needed. So no playing around with like the lightdm.conf. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Wow. Did I break the VM? What is going on here? You know what that is? I've actually seen this before in these VMs. That's LightDM trying to launch. That's a problem with the VirtualBox guest editions. I'm not going to try to fix it because I was actually going to kill the stream here in a minute. But trust me, we installed LightDM and we installed the awesome window manager. They're on there. We're not going to be able to see it without getting the VirtualBox guest editions working here. That doesn't happen that much in VirtualBox, but it's happened to me 2 or 3 times now installing various distros. And the first time it happened to me, man, I could not figure out what was going on. Because you first boot in, to your freshly installed ABC Linux. You went through the installer, everything worked fine. You reboot the machine, and then you get that crazy staticky screen, and you can't tell what's going on. And man, the first time that happened, I spent an hour or 2 trying to figure out what was going on. And finally it hit me. VirtualBox guest editions. You get those, the correct VirtualBox guest editions installed. And that's LightDM. LightDM just wigs out for some reason if the guest editions are not working as expected. Let's see, back to the chat. Let me pull that up so you guys can follow along. Yeah, that was the same that happened to me after the updated Solus for the first time and rebooted, yeah. I've never had that happen on, physical hardware. Again, it's a VirtualBox problem. It's a problem with the guest editions. And it's pretty rare. I mean, I've installed, hundreds of distros and VMs, and I probably had that happen to me, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. if I needed to fix the problem, you can. You just need to get the guest editions up and working. Oddly enough, I didn't have to fool with the guest editions at all in the GNOME install we did in Arch Linux. But with OpenBox and Awesome, it could be an issue. Let's see, Mark Yates, for whatever reason, he felt he needed to advance the distro. What is the issue, iCubic? Try running the VM again. No, it's the issue is it's the guest editions. It's not something like that was a one-time thing. At least I don't think so. But we'll try it. I think it's going to wig out every time. Yeah. You see how LightDM actually tried for a second like it was going to resize. It's like the VirtualBox guest editions are not functioning correctly. If I had it full screen, you would actually see LightDM like trying to go full screen and then back to the small screen. Full screen back to the small screen. And it'll do that like half a dozen times before finally freezing and just getting this staticky picture. But there wasn't much more to see in that anyway. LightDM is installed. This is LightDM, it's just we can't see it. And then from LightDM you log into Awesome Window Manager. I wasn't going to configure Awesome tonight anyway, so. But it would have been nice if we could have at least logged into it before I quit the stream. But it's getting late. It's actually close to 11 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone here in the U.S. William, yeah, sometimes it works. Sometimes restarting the VM works, yeah. On this this particular problem, though, like I said, I've seen it a few times on this. It's the guest editions. Let's see, Shaston, you mentioned Solus. I updated and got the black screen of death. Also, it was difficult figuring out how to configure a separate /home partition. I like Ike and Budgie, though, yeah. I really like the Budgie desktop, too. You know, I've got it, actually, Solus Budgie on this laptop behind me. I think the Budgie desktop is great. For a full desktop environment, it's probably my favorite one out there right now. William mentions, I thought it was a LightDM problem, but it seems to be related to the guest edition. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with LightDM. It installed correctly. Because it's the same install that we did on the OpenBox VM. And LightDM was functioning correctly. It's a problem with the guest editions. For some reason, on the VM with Awesome, the guest editions are not functioning as they should. And D8400. Good night, DT. Yep. I will be killing the stream here in another couple of minutes, just wrapping up some of the chat here. Shaston, or actually Lamarck here, was saying to Shaston he also had problems using Solus. Well, Solus is a rolling release distro. I know it's supposed to be stable. A lot of people say it's a stable rolling release distro because it's not like Arch and it's not like Gentoo, not like Debian Unstable. I mean, it's not like they're pushing out like a whole bunch of new packages every day. But it's still a rolling release distro, and a lot of, you know, the stuff around Solus is under heavy development. A lot of changes going underneath the hood. So, Mark mentions a single remote in tomorrow and fill out a form or two, some bookkeeping. That's about it. So I may do my first video tomorrow. Cool. Hector, good night, Derek. Good night, Hector. If I just use Nouveau, I can use Solus perfectly fine. Yeah, but nobody wants to use the Nouveau drivers. You didn't pay all that money for an NVIDIA card to use the Nouveau drivers. I don't care what Richard Stallman says. You want the proprietary drivers for your NVIDIA card. Tux, good night, DT. Good night, Tux. Thanks for stopping by. Lamarck, Manjaro for me is the most stable. More stable than Solus, even being a rolling release. Yeah. Manjaro was pretty stable for me, but it's still not. It's not a stable distro. I mean, I had stuff break on Manjaro when I was running it. I ran it for almost 3 months, 2.5 months or so, and it's still. I had some minor breakages from updating stuff. I mean, nothing I couldn't fix within a couple of minutes, but I mean, Manjaro is not Debian stable. You know, it's still very much Arch. Arch with an easier install, but still, it's Arch. Lamarck, it doesn't matter if you're using open source or proprietary drivers. To some people it matters. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, I'll check out your channel, buddy. Shaston, you mentioned you had a channel earlier too. Give us that name again in the chat one more time. I'll make sure I check it out as soon as I kill the stream. I'll subscribe to you and check some of your stuff out. Mr. Go F Yourself. Good show, DT. Much respect and peace. Thanks, Mr. F. This stream had some issues. I killed the stream twice. But you know what? The reason I was doing these streams this week, this stream and the last one, the one where I played some Counter-Strike, is really just testing out my Arch install and trying to get OBS working. It really wasn't to do these VMs and Arch. It was just I happened to have this Arch VM. I knew I could clone it and do some stuff in it. And I just wanted to record, about an hour and a half, stream for about an hour and a half just to see how things went. I still need to figure out this webcam problem in OBS to get this flickering taken care of. If I could get that straight, I think I'll be pretty good. That's the last hurdle I really need to figure out, because it's just driving me nuts, this camera flicker. Have you guys got any suggestions about that, or you guys want to contact me about anything, actually? I set up a new email because I'm doing my 30-day challenge living in the terminal. I set up a new email, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at distrotube.com. You guys feel free to email me. And I check that email once or twice a day using my terminal-based email client, NeoMut, which is a really cool program, by the way. NeoMut. Let me get back to tiling here. Pretty cool stuff. It's like I got an email here from Das Geek letting me know about his response rap video. Oh, that guy. Something wrong with that guy. I made one comment in my little rap song I made about 2 months ago about i3 being for amateurs, and he took that personal. No, he's a big fan of the i3 tiling window manager. Yeah. All right, Shaston. Let me put this back on screen here. Shaston's Linux Nation. I'm going to look that up as soon as I'm done here. Shaston, Mark. I shot a couple of videos though. Okay. Hey, Mark. Put the name of your channel also in before we kill the stream here. Anybody else that's got a YouTube channel they want to do a shout out in, go ahead and add it to the chat. I'm going to kill the stream here in just a second. Scrapjaw, what's up? Yeah, we're just about to wrap it up for this evening, Scrap. Really wasn't much going on. I basically just cloned a couple of VMs of Arch and installed Genome, OpenBox, and Awesome on a couple of VMs. Scrap mentions he has 2 audio tutorials up on his channel. Awesome. And you guys, Scrapjaw here is a audio whiz as far as setting up like the Jack server and all that on Linux. So Scrap, good to see you. Guys, check out Scrap's channel. I'm definitely going to check out your channel too, because I still struggle sometimes setting some of that stuff up. Very much new to a lot of the audio and video stuff here in Linux. Mark, Simple Text Solutions. Okay, Simple Text Solutions. I'll look for that. It's yet to be created. It'll be on shortly. Okay, well, let us know when you get it up. Thank you, DistroTube, for the stream, even though I'm super late. All right. Well, I do want to thank all you guys for joining the stream here. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for this evening. Before I go, I just want to do a special thanks to all my patrons: Ron, Brian, Carl, Greg, Carlos, Rob, Mark, Christian, Benjamin, Stephen, AK, Marcus, Kevin, Bob, John, Jake, Interceptor, Matt, Mr. Neely Pops, and the Dark One. You guys rock. You guys help make this show possible. And for everybody that's in the live stream, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit. Again, mainly I was just trying to test out my new install of Arch. You know, I've only had this up and running for about a week. Just wanted to make sure OBS is functioning correctly. There's still some bugs I got to work out, but I want to thank Mark and Lamarck, Scrap, Hector, William, Shaston, Mr. Go F Yourself, Q1, all the guys that were here earlier in the stream. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Peace, guys.